Hello, and welcome. Have you ever felt like giving up on English, like it's too hard, too slow, or just not for you? I used to feel the same. For years, I thought I was not smart enough. I failed tests. I forgot words. I felt small when others spoke better than me. But one moment changed everything. One English lesson, not in a classroom, but in real life, opened my eyes. And today, I want to share that story with you. This is not just a story, it's a journey of struggle, change, and hope. And while you listen, you will improve your English naturally, gently, with emotion. You will hear simple sentences. You will learn new words. And more than that, you will feel something real. So grab a notebook if you like, take a deep breath, and open your heart. Let's begin this story. The most powerful English lesson I ever learned. My name is Jake. I was born in a small town in the north of England. It was quiet, cold, and far from big cities. My family was not rich, but we had love. My father worked in a factory. My mother cleaned houses. We didn't have much, but we had enough. In school, I liked math and science, but I hated English. Not English as a language, but English as a subject. Grammar confused me. Speaking scared me. Reading was boring. I always felt slow. In class, when the teacher asked a question, I looked down. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be wrong. The other students laughed when someone made a mistake. I didn't want to be that person. So I stayed quiet, always quiet. At home, things were simple. We didn't have a computer. We didn't speak English at home. We spoke a local dialect, full of slang and short words. My parents never finished school, so they didn't help me with homework. But they always said, "Jake, do your best." That was enough. Sometimes. One day, when I was 14, something happened. I was in a small shop, buying milk. The shop owner was an old man from Canada. He had a soft voice and a big smile. He looked at me and said, "Hey there, young man, how's school?" I froze. My mind went blank. I knew the words, but I couldn't answer. Not in English. I tried to speak, but I just said, uh, good. He smiled again and said, "Keep learning. English will take you far, my friend." I walked home that day with red cheeks and a heavy heart. Why couldn't I speak? I had studied for years. I knew grammar rules. I memorized vocabulary. But in real life, I was silent. That night, I looked in the mirror. I didn't like what I saw. A scared boy, a student who only passed exams but couldn't speak. And I made a decision, a small one, but strong. I will try again, not for school, not for grades, for me. So I picked up an old book, a children's book. I read the first page out loud. Slowly, it felt strange. I made mistakes. I laughed at myself, but I kept going. And that was the real beginning of my journey. After that night, I made a promise to myself I will speak English every day, even just a little, even if no one listens, even if I sound silly. The next morning, I woke up early. I sat at my desk with a small notebook. I wrote one sentence. "My name is Jake. I want to speak English." Then I read it aloud, again and again. I felt shy, even though I was alone. But I kept going. At school, nothing changed at first. The teacher still talked fast. My classmates still laughed at mistakes. I still felt nervous. But now, something was different. I was trying. Every evening, I chose one simple sentence and repeated it 10 times. I go to school. I like apples. It is cold today. I didn't worry about big grammar rules. I focused on sound, on rhythm, on building confidence. After 1 week, I started watching cartoons in English, simple ones, with slow speech and clear voices. I watched with English subtitles, then without, then again. I didn't understand everything, but I caught more words each time. I laughed when I understood a joke. That was a good feeling. Then I found an old MP3 player at home. I downloaded short English stories. I listened while walking to school. I listened on the bus. I listened before sleep. The voices became my teachers. Kind, patient, never judging. But it was still hard. One day, I tried to speak with a tourist near the train station. He asked, "Can you help me find this street?" I smiled and said, "Yes, go, straight and left." He smiled and said, "Thank you. Your English is good." I knew it wasn't, but I felt proud. That small moment gave me hope. I joined an online group for English learners, people from all over the world. They made mistakes like me, but they also tried. We spoke on voice calls. The first time, I was shaking. I said only 2 sentences. My voice was small, but the others clapped and said, "Good job, Jake." I almost cried. From that day, I spoke with them every week. We shared stories. We laughed. We learned new words. I wasn't alone anymore. Still, I made many mistakes. I once said I am boring instead of I am bored. The group laughed. I laughed too. I learned not to take mistakes too seriously. Mistakes became friends, not enemies. At school, I still wasn't the best. My grammar test scores were just okay, but my speaking grew, slowly, steadily. I stopped avoiding questions. I started raising my hand. One teacher noticed. Her name was Miss Carter. She said, "Jake, I see you trying. You have something special discipline." I didn't know that word. She explained, "It means you keep going, even when it's hard." That sentence stayed in my heart. Discipline, that was my secret. Not talent, not a big brain, just small steps, every single day. Some nights, I was tired. Some days, I felt stuck. But I kept a notebook of all the words I learned. I read them again on weekends. I added new ones. I also made English part of my life. I changed my phone to English. I followed English-speaking YouTubers. I started writing a short journal every day, only in English. At first, just 3 lines, then a paragraph, then a page. I wrote things like, "Today was cold. I drank hot tea. I feel tired." It wasn't poetry, but it was real. I started dreaming in English. Just short, strange dreams. But they meant my brain was learning, even when I slept. Then, one day, a big thing happened. Our school joined an English speech contest. No one wanted to enter. Too scary, too difficult. But Miss Carter looked at me and said, "Jake, I think you can do it." My heart said no, my mind said no, but my mouth said, "Okay." That night, I couldn't sleep. What would I say? What if I forgot everything? But I wrote a short speech, why I learn English. It was simple, honest, full of mistakes. But it was mine. I practiced for 1 week, in front of the mirror, in front of my dog, in front of no one. On contest day, my legs were shaking, my hands were cold, but I walked to the stage. I looked at the crowd, and I spoke. I forgot a sentence. I said one word wrong, but no one laughed. They listened, and when I finished, there was clapping. I didn't win first place, but Miss Carter smiled and said, "You were brave." And for me, that was enough. After the speech contest, something changed inside me. I was still Jake, same home, same school, same face in the mirror. But now, I believed something new. I can do this. Not perfectly, not fast, but truly. That small belief became a light, and I followed it. One day, Miss Carter gave me a piece of paper. It was about a summer camp for English learners. "Apply for this," she said. "It's in London. It's free. I think you're ready." London. It felt like another planet. Big, far, expensive. I had never left my town, but something inside me whispered, "Try." So I applied. I wrote an essay in English. I asked my mother to help me send it, and I waited. 3 weeks later, a letter came. "Congratulations, Jake. You are invited to the English summer camp in London." I screamed. My mother cried. My father hugged me. It was the first time he called me a man. The camp was in a big school near the city. There were students from Spain, Korea, Brazil, Egypt, all learning English, just like me. At first, I was nervous. Their accents were different. Some spoke fast, some slow, some had better grammar, but I didn't compare. I listened. I asked questions. I shared my story. We played games. We told jokes. We cooked together, all in English. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel less than. I felt part of something. One evening, we sat around a campfire. Everyone had to say one sentence, just one, about their dream. I said, "I want to help others learn English, like I did." Everyone clapped. Some smiled. One girl from Japan said, "That's beautiful." It was the first time I shared my dream aloud. It felt real. At the camp, I also met a teacher named Mr. Thomas. He was from the US, with kind eyes and a calm voice. He told me, "Jake, you speak with your heart. That matters more than perfect grammar." He gave me a small book, Tuesdays with Maury. It was the first real book I ever finished in English. It made me cry. It also made me want to read more. From that day, I started reading English every week, not just textbooks, but stories, books with people, books with emotion. When I returned home, people noticed something different. I walked taller. I smiled more. I even helped my classmates with their English homework. Some asked, "How did you improve so fast?" I said, "I didn't. I just never stopped." At age 16, I started a small English club at school. We met every Friday in the library. We watched videos. We practiced speaking. We made mistakes and laughed together. One boy said, "I used to hate English, but now it's fun." That made me proud. English was no longer just a subject. It was a bridge between me and the world, between fear and confidence, between silence and voice. I still made mistakes, but now I welcomed them. They were signs of growth. One day, a younger student asked me, "Jake, what's the best way to learn English?" I said, "Fall in love with it, speak it, hear it, live it, because that's what I did." I watched movies. I read stories. I sang English songs loudly, even off key. I wrote short letters to myself in English every Sunday. Each small action added up, and soon, I didn't have to try to think in English. I just did. When I turned 17, I got a part-time job at a tourist cafe in town. Foreigners came in every week. I greeted them with "Hi there. How can I help you today?" And I meant it. One couple from Australia said, "You speak very clearly. Are you a local?" I smiled and said, "Yes, but English changed my life. They left a big tip." Later that night, I sat on my bed, thinking. I remembered the boy in the mirror, scared, quiet, ashamed, and I whispered, "You did good." Not every day was easy after that. At 18, I finished school. I wanted to study languages at university, but we had no money. My father lost his job at the factory. My mother got sick. I had to make a choice: study or work. I chose to work. I got a full-time job at a delivery company. Early mornings, heavy boxes, long hours, no English, no books, no time. At first, I said, "It's okay, just for 1 year." But months passed. I got tired. I stopped reading. I stopped practicing. My English felt distant, like a dream I once had. One night, I came home late. My hands hurt. My back ached. I sat at the table, looked at my old notebook. Dust covered the cover. I opened it. Inside were my first words. "My name is Jake. I want to speak English." I stared at the sentence. My eyes filled with tears. I felt like a failure again. Had I come so far just to stop now? The next morning, I made a small decision. Again, I put my headphones in during deliveries. I listened to English podcasts. Even if I didn't understand every word, I stayed connected. Every break, I read one English sentence. Just one. Some days I was too tired, but I didn't give up. One day, a customer asked for help in English. He was from Italy. He looked confused. I said, "Can I help you?" He smiled with relief. "Yes. Please, I need to send this package to London." I helped him fill the form. I explained the prices. I gave him directions. He said, "Thank you. Your English is very clear." That moment reminded me why I started. Soon after, I saw a post online. A local school was looking for volunteer English tutors to help immigrants learn basic conversation. I wasn't a teacher. I didn't have a degree, but I had experience. And I had heart. So I applied. At the interview, the woman asked, "Why do you want this?" I said, "Because I know what it's like to feel lost in a language." She smiled. "You're hired." Every Saturday, I met with 2 students, one from Syria, one from Vietnam, both new to the country, both learning English, both scared. We sat in a small room with tea and smiles. We practiced simple phrases. "How are you?" "Where is the bus stop?" "I like cooking." They made mistakes. I did too. But we helped each other. "One day," the Vietnamese man said, "you teach like a friend." That meant everything to me. Teaching helped me remember the joy of learning. It also made me better. I reviewed grammar to help them. I listened more carefully. I spoke more clearly. And slowly, I felt myself growing again. But life tested me once more. My mother's health got worse. Hospital visits became normal. I worked longer hours to help. I had no time for anything, no reading, no club, no energy. One night, I broke down. I sat in the hospital hallway and cried. I asked myself, what's the point? Then I remembered Miss Carter's word, discipline is doing it, even when it's hard. So I took out my phone. I opened a simple English article. I read it with tears in my eyes. Well, that was enough for that day. Sometimes, progress is not about doing more. It's about not giving up. That year taught me something no textbook could. English is not just a subject. It's a part of life. And life is full of ups and downs. Today, I'm 24 years old. I still live in the same town. My mother is doing better now. My father found a small job again. Life is not perfect, but it's peaceful. And me, I still work. I still read. I still speak English. Every day? I never went to university, but I never stopped learning. I taught myself. I used free websites, podcasts, videos, books from the library. I made mistakes, hundreds of them, but I kept going. Last month, something special happened. I got a message from a student I helped 2 years ago. Her name is Amina, from Syria. She wrote, "Jake, I passed my English test. I can now work at the hospital. Thank you for helping me believe." I smiled for a long time, not because I'm a teacher, but because I became the person I once needed. Someone kind, patient, and real. Sometimes, people ask me, how did you really learn English? I always say, not fast, not easy, but daily. I didn't study for hours. I didn't go abroad. I just showed up again and again. I showed up when I was tired. I showed up when I was sad. I showed up when I had no time. And English showed up for me. It opened doors. It gave me friends. It gave me confidence. It gave me a voice. But the most powerful English lesson I ever learned was not a word or a grammar rule. It was this: language is connection. Language is courage. Language is hope. Let me end with 5 simple lessons I carry with me. Never give up, even if you fail. Mistakes are part of the journey. Welcome them. Learn from them. One small step every day is enough. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Confidence comes from action. The more you speak, the stronger you feel. Your story matters. You don't have to be a native speaker to inspire others. You just have to be honest. Success is not free. You must earn it. But if you do, no one can take it from you. So now, maybe you're like I was, tired, confused, ready to quit. But listen closely. This is your turn. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Read one page. Say one sentence. Listen to one story. Start now. Start small. But start, because the most powerful English lesson may still be waiting for you. And maybe, one day, you'll tell your story too.